glory. Levels of grief looks like the darkness where there is never any sunlight, whether it is the death of a loved one whose transition wasn't smooth or easy. The affliction is difficult to overcome. The devil wants you to be done. Heartbreak of grief shines bright. From grief to glory, you ask? Honor your loved one and accept the things you cannot change. The loss of a job, or if you're like me, you quit your job expeditiously because of such misery. Can't find my way through the agony because of sorrow buried deep in my heart. Questions unanswered as we watch it depart. From grief to glory, you ask. Walk in fame as God knows your name and he is the one to be praised. Changes in a relationship. No, it probably wasn't supposed to end that way. Anguish with regret as we question and replay the day we found ourselves alone, begging them to stay. But God had other plans for your greatness. From grief to glory, you ask. A magnificent of appearance that I don't look like what I dealt with. The loss of finances, depression, and distress. Thinking about how you will provide. The affliction of poverty scares me. Bargaining with everyone around me, looking for help in places I never thought I would be. A small voice reminds thee, from grief to glory, you ask. That God will take preeminence over the thoughts that are trying to destroy me. Sudden changes in your life, they happen without any warnings or caution signs. As you watch life continue to unwind, you fight daily to not lose your mind. Unaware, it doesn't seem fair. From grief to glory, you ask. Pray and praise your way through if you dare. Changes in your health, a diagnosis that should have been a death sentence. Folks are amazed that you are still alive to witness. Struggles are very real. In our quiet time, we ask God, is he going to heal? From grief to glory, you ask. Praise God from whom all blessings flow. Levels of grief can cause much disbelief and hold you down like a heart attack and makes you crumble deep inside and blinds you from the realities of life. Stages of grief we are scheduled to go through. From grief to glory, we fight daily for relief. Hit with grief from every angle. Starting at stage 1, denial. Distress, not impressed by the pain I feel. Bondage and strongholds, dismiss the thought to heal. The idea that grief lives here, nothing is clear as I can't even see or hear. From grief to glory, you ask. The glory of God covers me every time. Next, we reach stage 2. Anger. A wrong perception with emotions leading me to fear. Oh dear, how did we get here? Because we let loss control the atmosphere. Trauma takes the tender heartache to unknown places. From grief to glory, you ask. Now grief is swallowing me up with anger, but God, I will always honor. Then we go on to stage 3. Bargaining. Arrangements moving in silence, trying to pretend grief doesn't belong here. Suffering with depression as can't understand the lessons. Imagine the reality that you lost everything. From grief to glory, you ask. As I open my eyes to realize God will always provide. Go on to stage 4. Depression. Intense sadness, crying myself to sleep, isolated, take a break from the world around me, a state of mind that leads to destruction, limited abilities to process the trials and storms in life. From grief to glory, you ask. Speak healing over your life and continue to obey and pray. Finally, at stage 5, acceptance. The power to comprehend that loss didn't win. Everyone has an expected end, years of counseling and constant prayers, in a position to be a witness. From grief to glory, you ask. That weeping doesn't last always, and God will use your pain in ways that force you to praise. And glory in the people around you are amazed that you didn't break. And God healed my broken pieces, and I walk in victory daily. God changed my name, and I breathe in peace. From grief to glory, you ask. I overcame such pain, and this is just the beginning of the story.